also the one overriding theme in the chat over the last few minutes when you addressed running back and J.K. Dobbins' historic run here over the last 3 years, and specifically in this year, gaining over 2,000 yards, is that Master Teague certainly had a fine freshman campaign. He doesn't appear to be the replacement, though. He doesn't appear to have the elusiveness nor the speed or the burst to be that guy.
Yeah, I was on a radio show in Cleveland earlier this morning, and I kind of liken him to a guy who played for Ohio State about 25 years ago by the name of, and now I'm drawing a blank on his name, Raymond Harris, who they called the Quiet Storm. And he could hit you. You know, he could be carrying the football, and he'd drop the hammer on you. He was good 4 and 5 yards at a time, matriculating that ball down the field like Hank Stram used to say. And that's the kind of back that Master Teague is. He's not an explosive, or he hasn't shown it, a lot of it, where he's going to get outside. And, you know, Dobbins took his game. He was good as a freshman. He was very good as a sophomore, and he took it to an All-American level as a junior. He was a second-team All-American on some teams, first team on some, and in the running for the Doak Walker Award. It was funny that he and Jonathan Taylor ended up with the exact same number of yards, 2003, and touchdowns. I think, I don't know what that number was, 20, 21, 25, whatever it ended up, but they ended up with almost identical stats. And I bristled weeks ago about how he didn't get, how that running back of the year award in the Big Ten should have been split down the middle, because they had almost the same season. Ultimately, they did have the same season, although one of them was playing for the national championship and one of them played on a 4-loss team in the Rose Bowl, but I digress. At any rate, I think about Teague. He got tremendous experience this year. I mean, he rushed for about 800 yards in mop-up, backup time. And as one of the reporters said, it's much easier to trample a beaten-down Indiana defense than to go out there in the third quarter with the net. With Dobbins had to leave the game because of his ankle, had to go back to the locker room to get taped up and maybe stretch out some things with his ankle so that he could get back in there. And, you know, Teague did the best he could, and it was just tough sledding for him in that game against that type of a defense. And so, again, good enough players to compete in the Big Ten, but to win a national championship, again, what it's shown, you've got to have tremendous talents in that situation. And I think he can be a piece of the puzzle next year for Ohio State. But I think they're going to give Marcus Crowley and Steele Chambers in particular every chance to win some of those carries. And beyond that, I think you also, as I had mentioned earlier, probably peruse what's out there, a grad transfer or whatever. I know Miami had a guy who put his name in the portal who could be viable. I'm not sure. I'm just spitballing at this point. I have no names or anybody that would be relevant, but somebody who can come in for a year and kind of bridge the gap. They're recruiting at running back. They got Mayan Williams, who's kind of a plotter from Cincinnati. It's kind of another Teague. And so I think they're looking for a guy who is a game breaker in the 2021 class, to help them out going forward. But, man, what Dobbins did in 3 seasons was nothing short of amazing. And second all-time on OSU's career rushing list, only 800 yards behind Archie Griffin. And that was a record I didn't think anybody would ever approach. Had he came back, he would have beaten that record by about week 7 in 2020. So that's something to say for him. And again, he's taking a little bit of a risk going to the NFL. The shelf life for a running back is not all that long. You only have so many carries in your body before you break down. As we see, it's hard for guys to play longer than about 4 or 5 years at top capacity at the running back position in the NFL. And I don't see Dobbins with a lot of first-round projections. They typically don't take a lot of running backs in the first round of the NFL draft. And I'm honestly not sure if he's an every down back in the National Football League. Mark, maybe you watch more NFL than I do, or I'll defer to people who are experts. I think he'd be a tremendous third down back. I mean, a guy that can swing out of the backfield, catch a pass, or even stay in and do a little pass protection if he had to. But I don't know. I'm open on. I don't think he can show anything else at the college level. I think he had maximized what he was going to be as a college running back, and yet I'm not sure he's a first round NFL pick. So, and again, it's not a knock on him. It's just kind of the marketplace for NFL backs right now, and the way that they draft them.